What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Blue River Bow Hunting Podcast. A little bit later in the week than I normally do, but something's better than nothing. I was talking and texting with my buddy Troy Dulaney today on some bow stuff, and was at dinner with the family. And I thought, you know what? I'm just gonna when I get home, I'm gonna see if Troy wants to do a podcast. I went over to West Virginia turkey hunting with him this year, which we're definitely going to get into. What a blast for sure! But this is your second time on the show. First time was episode 10 with me and Adam, which I believe may be one of the longest podcasts I've ever done. May have been one or two beers involved, but what's going on, dude?
Not much, brother. Long time listener, first time caller.
That's good. That's good.
But everything's been going good, man. Just getting ready, shooting the old longbow, trying to get everything dialed in. Switched up some nocks that I have because the nocks that came on my new arrows were just about maybe a quarter inch shorter, and I was drawing, and it was just a short draw. Put some new nocks on, added about a quarter inch. Things shooting great now, man.
That's awesome. It was pretty cool to watch you shoot your longbow there when I came turkey hunting with you, because I haven't really been around traditional archery all that much. My brother gave me a longbow. I think actually a recurve. He gave me a recurve that he had for quite some time a few years ago. I've shot it a few times, but I have a lot of respect for people that love traditional archery because it is traditional. It's not, the big machines we got as compounds,
And it's funny that even in a traditional community, it's just like everybody has something to say about something. Well, your handle's machined aluminum, and your limbs are carbon, or well, you don't shoot wooden arrows. Right. And it's still a fight. I'm just like, if it's got just one string on it, what does it matter?
Right.
I mean, you have no sights. Most of the time, you have no arrow rest. You're shooting right off the shelf of the bow, and it's just like, my goodness, can't we all just get along?
You would think we could, but there's just so many people that throw a wrench in that. It don't matter what it is. It don't matter if you got a gun, a bow, whatever, a crossbow. You definitely don't want to say that, and then people get super upset. But but the people that are true hunters and true outdoorsmen, I feel like, come together when they should. Just like me and you, we met on Twitter. As we talked about before in the other podcast, but talk to one another on there, and next thing you know, I'm coming to West Virginia. We had a blast, dude. I can't even. Let's talk about it. That turkey trip was definitely a highlight for me this year. I didn't know what I was getting myself into. You never know when it's a trip like that or meeting somebody for the first time. I mean, I knew I was going to have fun with you because we're definitely brothers from another mother. But it was just such a blast meeting you and your family and going over there to Todd's place and stuff. But I can't thank you enough for having me over, man. It was a freaking blast.
Dude, we had an awesome time, man.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, we had good hunting. We drank. We ate good. I mean, what more could you ask for?
Oh, for sure. I am. Every time you text me the word DeCarlos, my mouth salivates. I want some of that. I told her the other day, I said, if we didn't have something going on or I wasn't working this weekend, I would contemplate driving to West Virginia just for a piece of that pizza, I swear.
and that's what I was telling you, before you came here. I'm like, you've never had pizza like this.
No, I haven't.
And it's a square pizza, and they cook it in a tray of like 28 pieces. They par cook the crust, put a little sauce on, take it out, put the rest of the sauce on the crust, put it back in the oven, pull it out, and then they put the cheese on it,
You're right.
and they don't melt it.
No,
It's just
it's cold cheese.
it's just cold cheese on a
Oh
pizza.
man, it's so good.
But when you get it and you eat it, I mean, if you don't wouldn't like it, you can just leave the box set aside for a minute or two, and the cheese will melt.
Yep, absolutely. We didn't let nothing melt.
No,
We ate all of it within a matter of just a couple of minutes.
and it was funny when we was talking when you left. You said, "I told you." I said, "Well, there's one downtown. You could go right by and get it." I said, "But it's, in my opinion, it's just not quite as good as the one up on the hill."
Oh yeah.
And you're like, "Well, I'm going up on the hill, and that's where I'm getting my pizza."
Yeah, sure did. I stopped in and got it, ordered it like I knew what I was doing. Got it, got on 70 there and rolled out, and I think I pretty much had all of it gone before I even got to 70. Really, I tried to save a piece for the wife when I got home, but it's not the same.
Right.
Leftover. That's not a good. I don't feel like that's a good leftover pizza for sure. It's got to be
It,
fresh.
yeah, it's like a good drunk single guy leftover pizza,
Yeah, I can see that.
and then, but it, like I said, around here, that's what we live on,
Yeah.
but, dude, the turkey hunting, I'm telling you, man, we had such a good time.
Man, I was telling somebody this story the other day because we were showing some pictures at work about hunting and stuff, and I was showing them the birds I killed this year and whatnot, and started going through the video and showing them our hunt there in West Virginia, and it was crazy because Troy knew what he was doing when we set up he had a blind set up in the corner of this field, and he said, don't get agitated at first. We're probably not going to see anything right off the bat. He said it's about 9:00 and they'll hit this field. I swear it was like 9:00 on the dot, and we looked up and there was two strutters on the other end of the field, and we worked them right in there. If we were trying to do it with our bows, we really were. We were trying to do it archery style. Hell, he had the long bow or recurve or whatever in the blind, and I had the old Matthews with me. Called him into about 20-25 yards. And my first shot, I have no idea. I think I blacked out. I either blacked out or I hit the window. One of the two. I can't remember. I don't know what happened.
Dude, you was shaking like a crack addict that hadn't had a fix in a week.
Turkey hunting gets me fired up, man.
Dude, I'm telling you, I don't think I've seen anybody more excited about anything in life ever than you was taking that shot on that turkey. Your arm looked like you had like a massage thing on it, and it was just bouncing and shaking. I'm like, and then when you got another shot, and I thought you made a good shot on it. I really
thought
did.
I made a good shot too, but I think it was just a little far back than what I needed, or a little far forward, which had been pure feathers. But there was fat and arrow and blood, just not a lot of it. Mostly fat on the arrow, but gosh, man, I wanted it so bad. I wanted that bow kill on a longbeard so bad, and it was a monster.
It was.
He was a big bird, man.
It was. I'm telling you. I mean, just seeing it, I'd say that thing had to have 12 or 13-inch beard on it.
Absolutely, and then I make the shot. We think it's all good. Hell, we celebrated kind of. We thought it was game over. Now that I've watched probably a little bit more of bow hunting turkeys, I with him jumping like that, we should have known right then it wasn't that great of a shot. But me and Troy went down the ridge. We were kind of at the top of a power line cutout. So we went down trying to find the bird. We saw two birds, but we weren't sure if those were the two because there was birds gobbling everywhere.
They were everywhere.
Which is what I'm getting to. We went down there, looked for the bird. Nothing happened. We saw a couple other birds, so we decided to go back to the blind, where my camera was there. My bow was there.
This is too funny.
And we come up, and there is 5 longbeards standing in front of our blind. And when I say longbeards, they were longbeards. I'm pretty sure one of those birds was probably the one I shot on Wednesday. But, man, for a first day, for that to happen, I mean, if we'd had guns, we could have pulled a double. But either
Oh,
way, that was a hell of an opening West Virginia turkey season.
oh, it was awesome, man. Awesome, man. We had a great time. And then, I was like, well, we might as well wrap it up. And then, we went down to Todd's and just, had a great evening. Just, drinking beer out in the garage,
Cooking
telling
mushroom
stories.
birds.
I mean, it was awesome. And then, we get up the next morning, head out to the woods, and his dogs, I thought they was going to tear us all apart.
Right. We had a little bit of bad weather that morning. It was kind of spitting, raining, really windy. I was almost for certain that we weren't going to hear anything on the roost, which we come down the trail that they had made. They had a blind set up, and we didn't hear anything. I hit the hoot owl. I think we got one or two of them to gobble. Then we proceeded to sit in the blind for the next hour-ish. And I was for sure, I thought, man, this is going to be one of those days. The weather just kind of, screwed the pooch a little bit, really windy, mist and raining. And then all of a sudden, just like that, it stopped.
Yeah.
The wind stopped, the rain stopped, and they got fired up.
Yeah, them two gobblers, man, was hammering.
Oh, yeah, they were hammering, and they weren't very far from us. So I played the game with the one, called as much as I should have, probably. I don't think I overcalled those birds at all. But
dude, you worked them things like magic, dude. I mean,
one of those one of them technique mornings where experience came into play for sure.
Yeah, them gobblers come in. Well, actually, I think you might have actually just called the hen in.
Right. She was going nuts, man.
Yep. And them gobblers just followed right behind her. And like I said, I was sitting outside the blind.
Right.
Because there was 3 people already in the blind. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, well, I'll just bring my chair and just sit out here right against the tree and just watch, And that hen, man, she came in. But, man, it's like when she seen that decoy, something spooked her or something.
Yeah, you'll have that. I've even seen it in longbeards before. It was just a lone hen decoy we had out on this. It was kind of like at the peak of a ridge, but the ridge went further down towards this big valley. We just had her in the middle of the trail. Nothing crazy. Wind was kind of blowing her around a little bit. I've seen that many of times. Usually a hen doesn't really get that spooked by it. I haven't in my experiences. But she did not like that decoy. She saw that thing and she got all spooked. And that was about the time that the 2 gobblers peeked over the top of the ridge. And me and Levi, which what was he, 14 or 15? Was he?
I think he was 15. I think
15. Yeah, this was his first ever turkey hunt. And when I saw that there was 2 birds, I knew there was 2 gobbling. I wasn't for sure if the 2 were going to pop up. I said, we're going to pull a double, buddy, right here, right now. So I got my gun up too. And, she got spooked, and the one gobbler came out of full strut, left where I couldn't even see him anymore. And I just told Levi, I said, you can see that one on top of the ridge, take a shot. And it was about a 35, I would almost say reaching 40, maybe 35, 40-yard shot. And he just put the hammer down on him.
He did. It was a long shot. I mean, that thing flopped and went, maybe 10 yards, 15 yards,
mm-hmm.
and piled up. But it's funny because, he was just so cool about it.
I know. I would have been flipping out.
He wasn't, you could tell he was excited,
mm-hmm.
but he just didn't show it.
Oh,
he tried to hide it, but man, it was, it was a heck of a shot. From where he shot that thing from. And it was just to be able to be with somebody, on any of their first hunts when they are successful. It's just an awesome feeling, man.
Oh, absolutely. We absolutely hook, line, and sinkered Levi in turkey hunting because he's going to think it goes like that every time, and it
Right.
don't work that way. You know, it's almost. I hate to put it this way, but sometimes hunts like that can be emotional. You know, because his dad's with him. You know, his dad's super excited. You know, his dad doesn't have a gun, and you know that's their first turkey hunt. Period. I think maybe even the both of them. So you know they didn't really have experiences with that, and then seeing his son successful, you know they were me and Todd, we were fired up in the blind. Levi kind of kept it cool, but it was just a very cool hunt all overall with them guys. And then me and you came back to your place and spent the night, and you know, and had some beers and threw some darts with your daughter in the garage, which I had a lot of fun hanging out with you guys in the garage playing darts and stuff. It's been a while since I threw some darts like that.
Yeah, it was awesome, man. We had such a good time. And then
Absolutely.
when you shot your deer, or turkey, I mean, it, it was it was so funny. I mean, because watching you run through that field with them boots on, I'm telling you, I'm watching you, and it's like your front part is forward and your legs was back, and I'm like, he's going over,
Well, I think
he's going over, and he
the
did not.
the way that I was sitting, I think my legs were like asleep. I think.
But it was so funny though. But I mean, that turkey was like, because we was going to go down to the blind, and I was like, you know what? Let's just sit right here because they come out of this corner of this field, and he didn't come out of the corner of the field, but he come up on that edge, and you just put the hammer down, and that had to be 40 yards,
Yep.
every bit of it.
Yeah, he was gonna come out there. Maybe it was that decoy. Maybe I need to get a new decoy or something. He almost seemed like there was something that
Yeah,
spooked
he
him a
did. He
little
was,
bit too.
yeah, he was a little suspicious.
Yeah, I don't know what he saw or if it was the decoy or was from us the day before or 2 days before when we put a little bit of pressure on the field or what it was, but he took one step out of full strut and turned like he was going to go back into the bottom of that field. And I was like, nope, you ain't going nowhere else, which was pretty cool. You can't really see the shot on the video, which that's part of hunting sometimes and filming your hunts and stuff. You don't always get exactly the shot that you want. So, you know, it was my last morning there in West Virginia. I left right afterwards. So I went ahead and put the hammer down on him, but what a way to start off my turkey tour, as I want to put it. You know, going with you in West Virginia was the first part of my turkey tour, and I had youth weekend that next weekend or that the next couple of days in Indiana, and we killed 2 more birds back-to-back days on youth weekend. I mean, I felt like I was on fire. I mean, I killed 5 birds, and well, I've been part of 5 birds in just a couple of days. I felt like I was invincible in the turkey woods there for about a week and a half.
Yeah, it's just funny how anything, with whether it be turkey or deer, sometimes you'll hit that stretch, man. That just it's like you can't lose.
That's what I felt like, man. I felt like I couldn't lose. And then going up to Michigan with all the guys from Mid-State and some other ambassador from the Nexus program, and we killed eight birds in just a little less than 24 hours, all on film. It was a hell of a way to wrap up the 2023 turkey season, and I hope I hope my deer season goes anything like that because it'll be wild.
I'm trying to get you down here to West Virginia. Like I said, it's only going to cost you like $32 for a stamp. So
Yeah, I'm trying to get that figured out as well. I wouldn't mind coming maybe like that first weekend in December, maybe second weekend. We'll have to see how it plays out, and got some stuff going on here at home, personal stuff. So hopefully I can get out there. But as of right now, that's what I'm going to try to shoot for is that first or second week right there in December, which I'm sure up in the mountains there it'd probably be pretty cold.
yeah, it gets pretty chilly here. But I mean, it's one of those things, man. December 2nd could be 65 degrees,
Yeah, I'd be down for that too.
but it could be 5 below. You, it's just hard to tell. I mean, you'll get those days that just come up.
Yeah.
But like I was telling you, you know, we can bait here.
Mm-hmm.
So, when you get into, I mean, I'm not much of a baiter guy. I
Me,
usually don't.
right? Me either.
But hey, if you're coming in, I could throw a 50-pound bag of corn out or 100,
Hey, if
and
it's legal, there's nothing wrong with it.
I'm right with you. I'm the same way, man. I'm not, if it's legal, I ain't got nothing against it. I really don't.
Yeah,
I mean,
I've never really had that pleasure of hunting over anything like that. And here in Indiana, we're not allowed to do it. Kentucky, where I go in Kentucky, you can't do it on public land. You can do it on private, but not public. So I've never really got to hunt over a pile like that. I'm sure that may even add a little bit of an excitement to it.
well, like I said, usually from what I've learned over the years, most of the time, them big bucks that I notice aren't going to come in and just eat that corn.
Right.
I mean, it's just like they have a sixth sense or something.
Right.
You know, they're like, yeah, something's not right here.
Right.
There's not a cornfield, but them does will send their fawns in and kind of hang back a while and be like, all right, go up there and see what happens with you. you know? And I'm like, that's not good parenting at all.
No, that's not good parenting at all.
No. But
speaking of parenting, how did the rest of your turkey season go? I know you took your daughter out several times. How did the rest of your turkey season play out?
oh, we didn't do any good. Me and Dad went out a couple times. Just heard a few gobbles, long distance, and me and Maya went out a time or two and just never had any luck at all, But I just like spending time with her in the blind. I mean, it's a good time just watching her, and she's so intense. She's just like, she's looking out the blind. I don't see no turkeys, Dad. And she has her iPad with her, that way gives her something to do, but she don't pay much attention to it. I mean, she's always, looking out that blind, and she'll be like, Dad, I see something. Oh, it's a crow.
That sounded like me on that first morning. There's one. Never mind. There's one. Never mind.
But I mean, it's, anytime you can get your kids out. I mean, my oldest daughter is 17 now, and she just doesn't want anything to do with hunting. And it's not like she's against it or anything,
Right.
She's just like, that's just not my thing, Dad.
Yep.
She's like, but if you kill it, I'm gonna eat it. I'm like, well, that's great then, But my youngest, she's just like, let's go kill something, Dad. And it's just an awesome thing to at least be able to have, because my wife doesn't eat deer meat.
Mm-hmm.
She don't want nothing to do with it, but she has never stopped me from hunting ever.
That's good. I know
mean,
you guys can cook. I'm surprised she doesn't eat it as well as you guys cook over there.
I know.
I probably left there 30 pounds heavier than what I did when I showed up.
Yeah, like I said, I mean, I just don't understand it. I mean, the girls will eat it, and she's just like, I don't think it's bad. She's like, but I just don't want to eat it. And I'm like, well, I respect that. I mean, but I don't understand it. I mean, if you don't think it's bad, then why,
Right.
But it's just, like I said before, man, the first time I just love hunting.
For sure.
I'm not a trophy killer. I don't live in the Midwest where there's a bunch of big bucks and stuff. And if a spike comes along, now especially since I'm shooting a traditional bow, I just if I can make a good show, I'm going to do it.
Yeah. No, I don't blame you one bit. I may take it a little far sometimes when it comes to filming and doing all that sort of stuff, but I try never to lose the real sight of why I do this to begin with. Like, get on here and talk to cool guys like you every week about hunting and bow hunting and all that kind of stuff. But you know, I think a lot of people lose that sight in their life when it comes to hunting, and I think it may evolve or revolve around a lot of different things like social media or maybe the outdoor channel and whatnot. Back in the day, it's hard for me to say that because it's on in the background, but uh, people lose that real that sight of why they did it to begin with, why they got into it because their grandpa took them back in the day when they were young, and then now they're in the same footsteps taking their kids. I think a lot of people lose sight of that for sure.
Yeah, I think social media is it's a good thing. It is. I mean, you can keep in contact with friends and family, but man, when it comes to hunting, I don't know, man. You see a guy, he shoots a small deer, small buck, and he puts it on social media, and the first thing that he says is, "Well, I know it's not the biggest."
we know.
I'm just like, you shouldn't have to justify anything that you shoot.
I'm with you, man.
Buddy, if it makes you happy, shoot it.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, I've talked to my face is blue about that on here. I wish a lot of people had that state of mind when it comes to that. I even saw the other day a guy had put a trail cam photo up. I believe it was on Twitter, and I don't get on that very often anymore. But it was a nice buck. It was honestly probably a 135, 140, somewhere right in there. And he's like, man, new number one shooter or something like that. And I liked it. And I'm like, man, that is a pretty nice buck. And somebody commented on it, was like, I'd give it another year. I would never get caught shooting that. And I'm like, oh my God, I would love to shoot that, especially with a bow.
Exactly. Brett, me and you are like brothers here, man.
Oh, for
I
sure.
mean, when it comes to hunting, man, we're just the same. And and I love when people put on social media, they'll see a guy that says, "Hey, man, I'm just out here to hunt."
Yeah.
If a spike comes by or a 10-point comes by, it doesn't matter. I'm going to shoot it. And then you get that one guy that says, well, if you're sitting in your tree stand and there's a 3-point and a 10-point, which one are you going to shoot? I mean,
Right.
how stupid is that question?
Right.
And the way that I look at it is you're sitting at a bar and you have two girls come up to you that are flirting with you. One's ugly, one's pretty.
Which one you taking?
Which one are you going to take? I mean, come on.
Right.
It,
Go ahead, buddy.
Go ahead, buddy.
I was just going to say that's kind of one of the coolest things I think of doing a podcast and being on this type of platform. I've had people on here that they wouldn't shoot anything under 150 inches,
Yeah.
which that's fine. Honestly, there's
That's
guys
it.
that they're made.
Yeah.
The instance that I'm talking about, this person killed a very, very, very big deer. So now that's like, the level of not even expectations. It's like, hey, I've been here. I want to be even higher. And I totally respect that. And then you have other people that have been on here with me, like my buddy that I just had on a couple weeks ago, Tyler Comstock. He's talking about taking his boys hunting. He's a meat hunter. If he gets a chance at a nice buck, he's going to take it. He's still hunting hard like the rest of us, but he doesn't put that level of expectation on himself. He's just going out there to provide for his family. A big buck is just a bonus. And I find that that is awesome to me. I love that. I wish a lot more people were in that same boat and had that same mentality when it came to deer hunting.
I love that podcast. I
Yeah.
did. I mean, he was such a great person to listen to. And I'm right with him. I mean, hey, if you know, if your goal is to shoot any deer, I'm with it.
I'm with it too, man. I'm
If
with it
your goal,
100%.
if your goal is to shoot a mature deer, hey, I'm with you, buddy.
All
I
right.
hope you do. If you have one on a camera that you've named, and that's the one your focus is all year about, I'm with you.
Right.
I don't care. I'm with you anywhere you go. As long as you're doing it's legal, I don't care.
Yep.
I mean, I really don't.
I'm in the same boat, man. I really am. Speaking of podcasts, let's talk about your show. I want to get a little bit of shed a little bit of light on that. Talk about some of these recent shows that you've done with some traditional guys, and that's kind of what I mean, I wouldn't say it's totally what your show's based on, but a lot of your talk on there is a lot about traditional archery.
Yeah, I've tried to, just do a few things with some, trad guys, and just BSing with them, and just learning what they shoot, um, favorite hunting stories, just you know nothing in depth of hunting, no tips or nothing like that, just BSing with somebody for an hour. And that's my podcast.
I love it. Honestly, I think I really enjoyed last week's show that I did with Alan and Jake from Blue Collar Whitetails, because I wasn't necessarily, a lot of the shows that I've done here with a lot of people that I've had on, I go through a lot of stuff and try to get to know them a little bit and how they approach certain things and whatnot. But we were on a specific topic. We were talking about summer chores or summer prep for whitetails, and it was just kind of like a round table talk, bouncing stuff off one another, or how everybody kind of does it, and then going through those progressions. I enjoyed that. I think I would enjoy a BS session on here every once in a while, and that's kind of what we're doing tonight. It's a BS session,
Yeah.
talking turkey hunting and your podcast and stuff like that. It's fun to BS every once in a while instead of being so focused on a certain topic or whatever.
Buddy, I think that, the thing is, I don't want to listen to a podcast that's telling me how to hunt. I've been doing it for, this will be 35 years this year that I've been bow hunting. And we all know, hunt the wind, hunt the pinch points, hunt the saddle, hunt the food area, hunt the bedding area. We know all that. And that's great for, there's podcasts out there that are great for people that don't understand.
Right.
But I don't want to hear that. I just want to hear what your regular, everyday bow hunter has to say.
Absolutely.
And my favorite is just listening to their favorite hunting story.
That is fun.
Because they get so fired up about it. When you ask them, you're like, what's your favorite hunting story? You see their face just light up. And they know what it is. Right. There's no second doubt. And they're like, this shit right here is my favorite hunting story. And I love it, and I love to hear those stories about, their first deer, or their kid's first deer,
Mm-hmm.
or their dad's first deer, or wife, or sister, or whoever it may be. I just love those stories, man, because you could just see their face light up when they're telling it.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And that's what I don't want to hear about the wind. I mean,
Right. It was blowing
I'm
north, northeast.
yeah. I mean, my goodness gracious, you know, as soon as you get into bow hunting, within 2 days, you know about the wind. So I
Right.
don't want to hear about the wind. You
Right.
know, I want to hear just what everybody is about.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I mean, to me, that's what hunting is about. You know,
Absolutely.
I'm not no big trophy hunter. I'm a hunter. I'm a bow hunter. And I'll sit in stands if the wind's wrong. I don't, I, I just love, because the way I see it is you could pick out one spot in a chair on the ground. And in those, what is it, 30, 60, 90 days of bow season, you could sit there every day. You're going to kill a deer.
Oh yeah. Eventually, you're gonna at least get a shot on one.
Yep. I don't care if it's a doe, if it's a fawn, if it's a 10 point that grosses 150.
So, do you think with what you just said, do you think that people put too much thought into deer hunting sometimes? You know, barometric pressures and this and this and this, and they forget that they just need to go out and put boots on the ground.
Well, I mean, I think that, I mean, you can look at things like barometric pressure, and, you know, the higher it is, the deer are going to move.
Absolutely.
And, but you get these guys who are like, well, it's, you know, 65 degrees today, sunny. No, it's too hot. Deer ain't going to move.
I got. It's funny that you say that. It made me think of a story, and it actually all kind of ties into what we're talking about. So sometimes I'm that guy. I put too much thought into all these different variables and this and that. And Ryan came over. His old lady was on vacation or something. It was like the first weekend in October. It was still very warm here in Indiana, and I pulled up the DeerCast app on my phone, and it said terrible or bad or whatever it was. And I'm like, dude, let's just sit here and let's have a few. Or both of our wives are out of town. Let's have a few beers, watch this race that's getting ready to come on. Let's have a good time Saturday night. Let's have a good time. Let's not put too much. It's 75 degrees outside. Let's not go super sweaty tonight. And the neighbor, Adam, pulled in with his buddy. Hey, you guys going out tonight? We're getting ready to head out. And we're like, nah, we're just going to chill in the garage and drink beer. It's too hot for us fat kids. Phone blows up 2 hours later. They shot a giant. I'm not even making this. They had this buck. We had pictures. Spencer had pictures of it like about 2 miles from where they killed it. We called it E.T. because his G2 had like a little crooked thing. It kind of looked like E.T.'s finger, like phone home. And they killed that buck that night. I mean, and I know this spot because I've hunted it with Adam. That's where he killed his buck last year on film. Super thick. Like you can't even see the deer coming. You can hear them coming because they're just coming into bedding right there, and it's just super thick. Adam said he saw it, and then his buddy was down just a little bit, Randy, and Randy ended up shooting it. But that's just an example for you. I should have probably been in the woods. I just didn't feel like going and sitting in 80-degree weather, and and I leaned a little bit on the DeerCast. It's terrible. The wind's bad, and blah 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 blah. Just making excuses. I'm that. I admit I was that guy at that. Maybe I just had a wild hair at my ass, and I wanted to stay home and drink beer. I don't know. Sometimes shit like that happens, but
that's it.
I should have been in the woods. You never know. I could have had a shot at a big one that night.
Yeah, I just don't. Like I said, I mean, you was here. You see my 12 point that I had mounted,
Mm-hmm. Nice.
and I wasn't even going to go hunting that morning.
That's awesome.
I mean, I didn't know that deer was there.
Mm-hmm.
I drank a lot the night before. I was young, and I woke up, and I'm like, yeah, I don't feel like climbing that big hill. And I walked outside, and it was 28 degrees.
Ooh, that's
And
so
I'm
warm.
like, this was October 18th.
Wow, that's pretty cold for October.
Yes. And I'm like, shit, I got to climb that hill. So I climbed that hill, got up my stand. I ended up bringing that thing back in with a tippy bleep
That's awesome.
on October the 18th.
That's crazy. A bleep
It
like
is
that.
crazy. I
Bleep like
mean,
that.
I don't know why that buck came back into it. I mean, being so early in the season, but he did. And I mean, you just never know, man.
Yeah, for
Or
sure.
anything, like I said, I mean, you could go out the first day, especially where you're at, where there's good bucks. It could be the first day of bow season, 80 degrees, and shoot a 150.
Yeah, it's crazy. It doesn't happen a lot, but
No,
it happens.
right. I mean, it's just being at the right place at the right time.
For sure.
That's what it all comes down to, man.
Oh, absolutely. Another thing I wanted to talk to you on the show tonight about is something we talked about earlier on the phone when I called you after work. Um, bow shops, bow shops,
Mm,
bow shops, bow shops. Back, I can remember, when I first got into bow hunting, in like the 2002, somewhere right in there. Um, bow shops were everywhere. You could go. I mean,
yeah,
there was like 5 within 15 or 20 minutes from my house. All really nice guys. They would help you out tremendously. You could show up and not even know what you're doing, and they would help you. Seen it happen many a times. I can't tell you how many times I walked into a bow shop and saw somebody dry fire one and have it blow up in their hands just because they
yeah,
didn't know what they were doing. uh,
yeah,
but that is a thing of the past. Bow shops, few and far between. I can think of like 5, and when I say 5, I mean like within like 2 hours of my house in a
right.
circle. And I had um, problems with my drop away rest, the little piece that ties into the string when I pull back and it pops up. There was a plastic piece on the bottom which had busted and caused it to be able to move, which caused my rest not to be able to go up and down. So I was looking to get that fixed, and it was almost a challenge to try to find somebody to fix it, which was, I mean, just blew my mind. I mean, there was places you had to call and make an appointment, and this place is like an hour and a half from my house, and it closed at 4:30 in the afternoon. There's no way I can even make it there, type of thing. And then um, the place that I went to tonight, it's actually a gun shop, and there's a guy. They do sell bows in there. There's a guy that works on them, and he comes in there for like 3 or 4 hours twice a week. And there was people in there ahead of me when I got in there. What he needed to do on my bow took him 10 minutes, if that, more like 10 seconds. But it was just kind of wild. Me and you were talking about it, how different it was back in the early 2000s and maybe even in the late 90s.
Yeah,
The whole bow shop era, I feel like.
buddy. I think it's the internet. I mean, you could just order anything that you want, and it's here either the next day or the day after.
Right.
And I'm telling you, before long, it's going to be to the point to where you could buy Matthews, Hoyt, PSE, all their major lines online.
I think you can already do that. I think you can pretty much buy all those bows straight from the manufacturer, even customized, I believe. I mean, that's most of those are without your sights and your rests and all that sort of stuff too. But you know, I like somebody technician wise to be able to work on my stuff, but kind of like we were talking, because that's what you did, prior to your job. Now you were a bow tech at Cabela's. I find comfort in people that know what they're doing working on my stuff. Do I know a lot about bows? Yes. Do I know exactly how to work on all of them? No, I don't know how to do some of that stuff, so I need somebody to do it for me. But I'm almost getting to the point where I think I'm going to be working on bows myself.
Well, yeah, that's what it's going to come down to. Like I said before long, bow shops ain't going to have bows because there's just so many of them and so many different, you know, customizations to strings and limbs and just everything. They're going to be there to help people set up their bows.
Mm-hmm.
And I hate to see it, man, but I mean, that's just the way it's going to be because when you're a bow shop, there's so many sights and rest and stabilizers and arrows and broadheads. You can't carry them all.
Not even
You can,
not even
you
counting
know,
all the arrow options.
right. You can only carry so many things. And they just keep coming out with more and more each year. And like I said, Matthews and Hoyt, PSE, they're going to be like, well, you just order your bow, and we'll send it to either yourself or a bow shop by you, and then you can go pick it up
Yeah, that's
because
crazy.
you just these bow shops, man, they just can't carry it all.
I'm with you. The particular place I went to tonight carried Matthews, Hoyt, a couple Bowtechs, and some bear bows. Um, I was kind of checking the bear bows out. I had Matt Dossman on a few weeks ago. We talked a little bit about it, and when I saw them sitting there, it kind of popped in my head like, hey, I want to check these out. We just talked about it. Wow, what a price difference. That's all I have to say. And this, I'm not trying to preach on inflation and the way all that stuff works out, but I cannot justify seeing how much money they pay for some of these bows. I mean, it is ungodly. I'm talking about a bare minimum bow, not bear, BEAR, but BARE, bare bow with no sights or rest and everything. Almost $2,000.
Yeah.
That is just absolutely gnarly in my book. I could
Buy
be
that
that
buy that
old guy,
carbon
but
buy that carbon bow.
yeah. Oh man, I just can't see it. And you got some guys, and I'm not. If this is you, don't just play me off. But there's guys that spend that much money, and then go around and sell it at the end of the year, and they're ready for another one. I
I
see it
used to
a lot.
I used to be that guy.
There's nothing wrong with being that guy if that's something that you're into and you want the newest, baddest thing. And that's in your pocketbook and handle it. You go for it. But my pocketbook cannot handle
But
that.
my thing was I worked at archery shops and I could buy a bow at cost, shoot it for a year, and then sell it for more than what I paid for it.
No, that's something I might be able to get into a little bit.
But yeah, dude, it's just now that I switched to traditional archery, man, I love it. I mean, I'm not going to be shooting 25, 30 yards, hitting 12 rings like I used to with my compound. But it's just to stand at 20 yards and watch that arrow and know that I made a good shot. It's just awesome, man.
It is awesome. I'm glad to see you enjoy it as much as you do. There's some guys that say they're into archery and they may shoot a couple times a week, but they don't get it. Troy shoots almost daily. listening to podcasts or the radio out in the yard, and he's out there smoking the deer target or the turkey target. I mean, it's something that you do almost daily.
Yes. I mean, with traditional archery, man, you have to. I mean, you can't just. On my last podcast, when I talked to Derek DeRuza from Ohio, we talked about this. It's like, it's not like, you know, you could pick up a bow after 2 months and shoot it good.
Mm-hmm.
But you can with a compound.
Yeah, it's
I
kind of like
could.
a basketball player. They get that rhythm of their shots. It's kind of the same muscle memory type of situation when it comes to
Exactly.
traditional. Right.
But yeah, it's just like, I could set my compound down 2 months, pick it up 20, because I bow hunt to get close. I don't bow hunt to shoot 80, 90 yards.
Yeah, no.
And that's just not me. I'm not that. I mean, if I did that, I'd get a rifle. I just
Right.
and so I could set my compound down 2 months, go pick it up 20 yards, and just be pounding a 3D target.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Now, put your longbow down for 2 months, come back out and start shooting it again.
You probably may not even hit the target.
Yeah, you're like, WTF.
That's awesome, man.
You're like, what the crap is going on, man? And it's all mental.
Mm-hmm.
Because when you have a peep sight, and I never shot with a kisser button, but a lot of people have a kisser button, and you're drawing, you have so much stuff to line you up, and it's just squeeze the trigger.
Right.
It's in the bullseye. Then you go grab a wood bow with a string and an arrow, and you're like, what the shit am I supposed to do with this, man? And it's just like, you have to stay on it.
Mm-hmm.
You just have to.
Yeah.
And I mean, I shot 2 years ago. I shot my first deer with a recurve, and some guys say it's not traditional because it had an aluminum riser, carbon limbs, but I shot out of a blind 15 yards and made a perfect shot.
That's awesome.
It was quartered away right towards the back of the ribs. It come out the opposite side scapula, ran, I don't know, maybe 80 yards, piled up, died. And I called my buddy that got me into the trad archery, and I'm telling him I'm so excited, I'm shaking and just out of control, man. And he says, what was the difference? He says, was you more excited when you shot that 170-inch deer or that 7-point trad buck? And I'm like, this is how I'm going to give it to you. I'm like, I was more excited when I shot the deer with my recurve. I said, but when you walk up onto a 7-point that scores about 75, and then you walk up on a 12-point that scores 170. I said, that's a totally different story, buddy.
Yeah, that's totally different circumstances.
Yeah.
For sure. That's awesome, man. Well, I appreciate you coming on and talking with me again, and giving me a an episode, kind of a BS session, kind of recap our turkey hunt together. We definitely wanted to do a podcast on that for sure. And maybe we'll get you back on. Hopefully you can shoot a 170 with the recurve.
Dude, if I do, I'm going to put every bow that I have on the wall and I ain't never hunting again.
That's awesome, buddy. Hey,
Unless maybe some rabbits or something.
all right. Well, tell everybody where they can listen to the podcast and the name of it and everything.
Well, the podcast is the Yeoman Bowman. You can look for it on Spotify. I have a Twitter. I have a Instagram, Facebook. Most of them are on WV Bowmaster. But I don't really put much stuff on there because I'm, a little bit older and I just kind of just hang by myself and everything. But yeah, if you want to, get a hold of me, that's how you get a hold of me. But I can tell you right now, I love you, Brett.
Oh, for sure, buddy. I love you like a brother, buddy.
I mean, I'm so glad to see you guys growing with your, with Blue River bow hunting and everything. And man, I'm just proud of you.
I
And
appreciate that, man.
And, I'm just glad, you came out turkey season, got to kill a couple turkeys, had a great time.
Oh yeah.
I'm hoping you can come out in deer season. But I mean, this is what it's all about.
Oh,
There's,
sure.
there's a lot of fake bow hunters and shit that just, I see them on Instagram and this and that, and I'm like, what a joke, you know. But man, I'm just proud of you, man. Just keep going, just keep doing what you're doing, and I'm always here for you, buddy.
I appreciate that. You guys go. I'll have him tagged on everything when I put this out tomorrow. But everybody check Troy and his podcast out. If you're into traditional archery, it's definitely something to listen to. We'll be back here again next week for episode 66. Not sure who that might be just yet, but we'll get her figured out later on. You guys have a good weekend and go Colts.
See you, buddy.